Schneider Electric is about to release its first ever set of gender pay gap statistics, and Colleen and I are here today to try and talk about that and explain what that is all about. So Colleen, can you tell us why we're talking about that now?
Sure. For the first time ever, the government made a decision that all companies with more than 250 employees had to report on their gender pay gap. That deadline is coming up. On the 5th of April, we will need to publish our results.
Okay.
So at Schneider, in our zone, we have two entities that meet that criteria, Schneider Electric Limited and also Eurotherm as well.
What we seem to be doing here is giving a statistic which is the average of the pay of the males in the organization versus the average of the pay of the females.
That's correct.
Now, if I look at our companies, obviously being engineering companies, etc., we're very heavily male dominated across our company. Is that going to have an influence on our numbers?
Absolutely, Mike. In Schneider Electric, we have 21% females, and in Eurotherm, we have 25% females. So already you're going to see a heavy weighting in these figures that are coming out because of exactly that. So it's a representation issue in terms of our male and female population, rather than a pay issue for us.
Okay. So how did we do that? What is our number for our first declaration?
Yep. Okay, so for Schneider Electric, our gender pay gap is at 32.3%, and for Eurotherm, the gap is 44.51%.
Okay, so the number on the face of it looks that we have a representation issue rather than an equal pay issue.
Yes.
We just don't have enough females in the organization, and particularly at the higher levels in the organization. Now, we talk a lot about that as a company, and we've made a lot of commitments about that as a company. So how are we doing on that, and what are we doing to redress that issue?
Yeah, it's an ongoing issue. I think one of the things, it's one of our key 6 transformations over the last couple of years, certainly since I've been in Schneider, we've put a great emphasis on bringing a 50-50 split into our organisation in early talent. That's hugely important because hopefully they're the leaders of the future, and if it continues to be that 50-50 split going forward, our gender pay gap will obviously be affected by that, and it will decrease if we remain 50-50. So that's something we're doing. We're also making sure that the hiring managers understand how important it is to look at different profiles, to bring different profiles into the organisation. If they're constantly recruiting in the same place, then we won't affect that diversity and inclusion number, which is hugely important.
Okay. Now, we've discussed this before, that one of our challenges as a company is, ironically, that people like working for our company. So we actually have quite a long average tenure of people in the company, which brings a sort of another challenge.
Yeah, what a great problem to have. You know, the average tenure is 15 years. So clearly that's telling us something about the organisation we operate in today and how people like to stay at Schneider. The flip side of that, of course, is that to change your population and your diversity, that takes much longer because people aren't leaving. So, you know, it is a double-edged sword, if you like. On the one hand, it's a fantastic recognition of what a great place Schneider is to work in, but on the other flip side, to try and change the profile and the diversity of the organisation takes us much longer.
Okay, so great. So I hope we've managed to explain to you what the gender pay gap topic is. Again, just to remind you, it's the average salary of the men in the organization versus the average salary of the females in the organization. And that for Schneider Electric, we are committed to diversity, and that by bringing more diversity into our organization, these numbers will improve over time. But it's down to every one of us to take action on that. So thank you very much for taking the time to watch this video. I hope it was informative.